Hey there fellow Planeswalkers, it's Steve for Collector Mania, and we are continuing on with Alternative Tuesdays. So today we're going to take a look at another Brawl deck. We've got Izoni 1000-eyed. I decided on this commander because Guilds Brawl really just jam-packed full of awesome Golgari cards. I mean, from Assassin's Trophy to this to basically any card that you can think of. Golgari is definitely a clear winner in my mind as far as like awesome power. I think Izzet really kind of competes with it, but anything else, I don't know. Anyway, Izoni 1000-eyed. 2 colors, 2 black, 2 green, legendary creature, elf shaman, 2/3. Has undergrowth. When Izoni 1000-eyed enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 black and green insect creature token for each creature card in your graveyard. So really powerful graveyard effects. Of course, this is right up my alley. I love graveyard type effects. Also, black and a green, sacrifice another creature, you gain 1 life, and draw a card. As many of you may know, if you've watched me play in any of our commander challenges, I really like attrition type builds, so this lends itself to attrition type builds. All you really need is, you know, for regular big commanders like Grave Pact or Dictative Erebos, and all of a sudden you're just doing amazing things. For Brawl, it's a little bit harder to do things like that, but we can still utilize this ability to great effect. So first up in the deck build, we've got Llanowar Elves. Of course, being able to ramp is always something that we like to strive for. Being able to play Izoni as many times as we can is really what this deck is trying to shoot for, so having that mana to do that late game is especially important. I've got Stitcher's Supplier, so this card is amazing. I highly recommend picking up your copies now. I think this card is just going to get more and more expensive. It's becoming a linchpin in a lot of decks, so for commander players I recommend at least getting a couple copies if you have a couple decks. And just putting them in there, give it a shot. It's actually a really powerful card, even in Commander. I've got Druid of the Cowl, a little bit more mana ramp. I've got Glowspore Shaman, so a black and a green, 3/1. Elf Shaman, when Glowspore Shaman enters the battlefield, put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard. You may put a land card from your graveyard on top of your library. Really good effect, just filling our graveyard with creatures that we want, and also getting back the lands that we've self-milled into our graveyard back on top of our library to play for later mana ramp, stuff like that. I've got a Swarm Guildmage, so a black and a green 2/2 Elf Shaman. You can pay 4 colors and a black, tap, creatures you control get 1/1/0 and gain menace until end of turn, so a pretty good late game evasion type move. And then we've got a colorless and a green, tap, you gain 2 life. So really good for a lot of effects in this deck because we do pay a lot of life to do a lot of things that we're trying to do. And I've got a Midnight Reaper. 2 colors and a black. Speaking of paying life to do things, whenever a non-token creature you control dies, Midnight Reaper deals 1 damage to you and you draw a card. Really kind of a perfect effect. It's the closest we're going to get to like a Phyrexian Arena kind of style thing in Standard as of right now, so pretty good include in the deck. I've got a Plague Crafter, so 2 colors and a black, 3/2. When Plague Crafter enters the battlefield, each player sacrifices a creature or planeswalker. Each player who can't discards a card. So this, in my opinion, is just a strict upgrade to Fleshbag Marauder and Merciless Executioner. Like, I need this card for a million different decks. It's amazing. Really powerful. They've got a Raging Raptors, so not only is it a pretty good like early game blocker and then eventually just dies, it also gets us a land, fills our graveyard. This card does a lot of things for us, really. Then we've got a Reclamation Sage. Of course, removal is always important. Runic Armasaur, so a colorless and 2 green, dinosaur, 2/5, really good blocker, early game blocker. Whenever an opponent activates an ability of a creature or land that isn't a mana ability, you may draw a card. So, really powerful card draw here. Probably one of my favorite dinosaurs, to be honest. Got a Thrashing Brontodon, so a little bit more removal. I've got a Tomb Robber, a great way to discard creatures into our graveyard. I've got a Beast Whisperer, so 2 colors, 2 green. Whenever you cast a creature spell, draw a card. Really powerful. This card is another one of those breakout cards in my opinion as far as like commander goes. I would pick up as many copies of this as you can, especially for any of those big green decks or Gruul decks, or my personal opinion is throw this in Animar like right away. It's just really powerful. I've got Jasu Vest, Lich Knight. This is probably one of the more favorable finishers in the deck, just being able to make a ton of zombies that have menace late game that could really get you there. I've got Poison Tip Archer, so this is one of, if not the only, kind of like attrition-y type effects that we run in the deck, but I think it's really effective. If you can make a bunch of tokens and just start sacking them and then just drain everybody's life, that's exactly what this card wants us to do, and that's exactly what we want to do. I don't know if that sentence made any sense. Then we've got a Ravenous Chupacabra, so 2 colors, 2 black, 2/2. When it enters the battlefield, destroy target creature and opponent controls. Really good removal. Dallied Soothsayer, really good sack outlet. Then we've got Whisper Blood Liturgus, so great way to sacrifice things and also a great way to recur things. Really, really powerful card, especially when we're sacrificing like tokens just to get Izoni back on the battlefield. That's pretty powerful. Then we've got another card that I don't personally have, wish I did, but I would recommend it for this build. So Doom Whisperer, so 3 colors, 2 black, Nightmare Demon. It's a nightmare to get hold of, that's what I'll say. 6/6 Flying Trample, pay 2 life, surveil 2. So really, really powerful effect, and I can understand why this card is so expensive and so hard to find. I mean, it's ridiculously powerful. I've got Tendershoot Dryad, of course an old favorite of mine. Underrealm Lich, another new card, so 3 colors, a black and a green, Zombie, Elf, Shaman, amazing creature types. 4/3, if you would draw a card, instead look at the top 3 cards of your library, then put 1 into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. Pay 4 life, Underrealm Lich gains indestructible until end of turn, tap it. So not only does it have built-in protection, but it also has a great way to filter the top of your deck, essentially. Way better than like a Grizzly Salvage effect in a lot of ways, because it lets you select what type of card you can put into your hand and what types of cards you put into your graveyard. So you put, I don't know, an enchantment from your 3 cards into your hand, and then 2 creatures that you got in there as well into your graveyard. Perfect. Really, really powerful. Then our top end, we've got Multani. Really good late game, it can recur itself. Really, really cool card, really. Really. Then we got Tetzmoc, Primal Death. So 4 colors, 2 black, amazing dinosaur, 6/6 Death Touch. Essentially, you reveal it from your hand, you can put a prey counter on something, and then whenever you play it, it destroys all the creatures with prey counters. So as close as we're really going to get to a super effective board wipe. I've got Hatchery Spider, so 5 colors, 2 green, Reach, Undergrowth. When you cast this spell, reveal the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. You may put a green permanent card with converted mana cost X or less from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order, 5/7. So just a big old beater that will potentially get you another creature on the battlefield. So really cool card. And of course we've got Rascal, Gauri Queen, so 2 colors, a black and a green, legendary planeswalker, Rascal, 4 loyalty starting. +2, you may sacrifice another permanent. If you do, you gain 1 life and draw a card, so essentially Izoni's ability, really. And then -3, destroy target non-land permanent with converted mana cost 3 or less. Really, Grizzly Salvage, really powerful effect. Or not Grizzly Salvage, Abrupt Decay. Really powerful effect. And they've got -9, you get an emblem with whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game. I love that they've stuck with this ultimate theme with Rascal. Essentially, if I ultimate, you're going to lose if one of my creatures hits you. Really cool. Then one of our two enchantments, Argyle's Bloodfast, colorless and a black. To activate it, you pay a colorless and a black, pay 2 life, and draw a card. Really powerful effect. Beginning of your end step, if you have 5 or less life, you may transform Argyle's Bloodfast into Temple of Akalot. I can't even say it. Legendary land. Tap to add a black, and then you can also tap, sacrifice a creature. You gain life equal to sacrifice creature's toughness. So really effective if we've gotten low life and we just need to start sacrificing things and gaining that life back, and then replaying things like Izoni and so on and so forth. And I've got Journey to Eternity. This is, of course, is an automatic in this deck, so a colorless, a black and a green, legendary enchantment aura. Enchant creature you control. When enchanted creature dies, return it to the battlefield under your control, then return Journey to Eternity to the battlefield transformed under your control. So a great way to use this card is actually just to enchant Izoni Thousand-Eyed, because not only are you going to be able to flip this relatively easy with all your sack outlets and sack effects, but you're going to get Izoni back to the battlefield, and then it's going to flip back over onto this side of the card, and it's going to be a legendary land. You can tap and add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. You can also pay 3, a black and a green, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Super powerful. And really good, track of play, really. And then, of course, we've got the Breakout removal spell from the set, Assassin's Trophy, black and a green. Destroy target permanent opponent controls. Its controller may search their library for a basic land, put it on the battlefield, then shuffle their library. Really strong. Amazing card. The only thing I don't like about it is the artwork, just because I love Asperia. So it sucks to know that Asperia is now, petrified, essentially dead, really is a better way to put it. And then we've got Status to Statue. This, just in my arena play, has probably been one of my favorite cards. Oddly enough, it's really fun to play around. Target creature on the first side, you can pay a black or green hybrid. Target creature gets +1/+1 and gains Death Touch until end turn. Really good, cheap, you know, kind of like combat trick removal. Then on the other side, we've got two colorless, a black and a green, instant speed, destroy target artifact, creature, or enchantment. Really, really good removal, even though it's a little bit heavy cost. They've got Costly Plunder, so a colorless and a black adds an additional cost to cast Costly Plunder, sacrifice an artifact or creature. Draw 2 cards. Very effective spell. I've got Mausoleum Secrets, so a colorless and a black undergrowth. Search your library for a black card with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Reveal it, put it in your hand, and then shuffle your library. Just good tutor, really. Another one of those split cards, so we've got Find and Finality. So a hybrid black-green and a hybrid black-green return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. Really, really powerful. And then Finality is 4 colors, a black and a green. You may put 2 +1/+1 counters on a creature you control, then all creatures get -4/-4 until end of turn. Kind of an effective board wipe, maybe not so much for Brawl, but I did find that while playing Arena, just regular Magic, this was really effective as far as like catching some people off guard. Then we've got Grow from the Ashes, so a little bit of mana ramp. And then Circuitous Route, 3 colors and a green. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards and or gate cards and put them onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. Really, really cool. Essentially a... I can't think of the name of the card. Well, you guys know what I'm thinking of. But you can also grab a gate and a basic land. Really, really cool. I love this card. It's actually a lot of fun to play with. Then we've got a Gruesome Menagerie, so 3 colors, 2 black. Choose a creature card with converted mana cost 1 if you in your graveyard. Then do the same for creature cards with converted mana cost 2 and 3. Return those cards to the battlefield. So really kind of a small recursion spell that gets you back 3 creatures at most, which is actually pretty powerful. I've got Rise from the Grave, great way to recur some of the bigger things in our deck. And then breaking into our lands, we've got Arch of Rascal, which is still an auto-include in my opinion in Brawl. Cabal Stronghold. Every once in a while, especially going to the late game, this can be really effective, especially if we just want to play Izoni over and over again. Evolving Wilds, of course. Field of Ruin. Foul Orchard. Gateway Plaza. Golgari Guildgate. Memorial of the Folly. Memorial of Unity. Overgrown Tomb. Love the Shocklands. They're back. It's so awesome. Reliquary Tower. Woodland Cemetery. Forest. And swamps. I think there's 6 forests and 5 swamps, something like that. So anyway, that's the end of the deck tech as it is. I wanted to talk a little bit about like what you could do to upgrade this after rotation or even before rotation if you just get tired of playing Brawl and turn it into a full-fledged commander deck. Really the main thing that I would shoot for is more of an attrition style build, of course. You know, things like Blood Artist and, you know, as the aforementioned, like Dictate of Erebos, so on and so forth. Those types of effects are really, really effective for something like this. So that you can go that route. There's also like sticking more to like the graveyard theme, like Satyr Wayfinder or Nyx Weaver. Really good ways to put cards into your graveyard, creatures specifically. Of course, Dredge is another thing that you can really shoot for, and there's a ton of good Dredge cards. We've talked about them a million times in different graveyard builds, essentially. And Craterhoof Behemoth, of course, is an amazing finisher. If you can play Izoni and get like 10 tokens and then next turn just Craterhoof Behemoth, that's a pretty good game plan. Past this, I really wanted to talk about like decks that Izoni fit into. So like my first thought was Mazarek. Like these two go together in my opinion 100%. You know, make a bunch of insects, sack a few insects, make all your insects ridiculously huge. Really, really powerful synergy there. We've also got things like Marin of Clan Naltooth. This commander, of course, is probably one of the staples for graveyard Golgari recursion decks. So throwing Izoni in the deck isn't a bad idea at all. And then, of course, we've got the grandfather of graveyard decks, and that's Carador Ghost Chieftain. I think this card works amazing here as well. Also, along those same lines, we've got Muldrotha, the Gravetide, another effective use of this card. So, with that is the deck tech. I wanted to take a little bit of time here at the end to kind of say sorry for not posting videos for so long. I know it's been quite a while. Me and Eric are working on it. Like I said a long time ago on one of the Let's Talk About It, there's a lot of good life changes that are going on my side, which I'll fill you guys in a little bit more as we get closer to it and let you know exactly what's going on. But just know that I'm going to try my best to get back into the swing of things and making videos and doing all the fun stuff that I used to do. So anyway, we'll see you guys later. I hope you appreciated the deck tech, and sorry I'm a little bit rusty. I know I've flip-flopped on words quite a bit in this one. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Thanks.